Whether it's animation, CGI, puppets, or clay, he wears a beret and it's kinda gay. That was kind of mean. That guy doesn't make stuff anymore. For as far as I'm concerned. I haven't looked at anything. But anyway, this is Jump and Shoot playing Kingdom Hearts Revenge of the Sith. And I like shorts. Speaking of, this is not speaking of, just to let you know. I've also watched the It remake recently, the part 2. It was honestly great. I was afraid that because what I remember about the original TV special adaptation from like the 70s or 80s or whatever, it ended on kind of a downer. Like, a lot of the kids die, and that's not cool. Like, in a story about overcoming fears and stuff, it really sucks. I guess it's good tragedy, but it's a bad story that characters that learn, like, hey, I need to overcome my fears, otherwise it's gonna consume me, they do so and then they die. It's kind of like, well, they didn't get a chance to like live their life free of fear, or I guess they did for a while until the clown came back, and so did the racist kid. That like gave them all trouble in the past. But in the remake, it did a better job at not making it be a downer. Like, it's got some tragic stuff in there, like, for sure, but the characters, the likable characters, get to stay and their lives get to go on after conquering this thing that's been plaguing all of them, and that's, you know, kind of fulfilling. It's not bad. Okay, on this, I know for sure I'm gonna disagree with Doug Walker on, because he's gonna review it live, on a live tour, I guess, or something. But his teaser for it was him dressed as Pennywise, saying, "What the fuck were we smoking when we made this?" Like, implying a lot of stuff. Like, what do you mean, were we smoking? This was alright. Like, the scares were good. They were not, like, jump scares. They were build up. Like, fucking kids get killed in this. It does a good job at scaring stuff. Okay, that's not to say that some of the shit wasn't funny as hell. Even when they were trying to be scary, that was funny as hell. But I see value in that, because I never thought that the story of Stephen King's It was a complete horror movie. I would consider it horror adventure, which means that you might not be scared all the time, and that's fine. I never saw it as, like I said, a complete horror movie, because in a normal horror movie that follows tropes, whether in a good way or a bad way, a lot of the main characters are supposed to die. There's a killer on the loose, whether it's like a supernatural one, or, you know, like Nightmare on Elm Street or something, where everyone is just supposed to die. Because it's, I don't know, but it's just how it is. There usually isn't survivors. There usually isn't like funny moments at all. It's just, sometimes there's gore, sometimes there's surreal horror involved and stuff like that. I always felt like the original, or let's talk about part 1. Part 1 was a feel-good, like, kids adventure stuff. Like, I'm surprised Stephen King hasn't looked into anything like Earthbound or tried to adapt Earthbound in a kind of way, because it feels like it's his kind of thing, or like kids in a world where adults like look down upon them, go on an adventure to conquer this great evil thing. Like, it's like the same kind of stuff he writes. You know, most adults are bad because adults are bad. That's the vibe I always got from his stories or any of his adaptations. Like maybe the Langoliers, definitely what's that one? The Green something. The Tommyknockers, maybe something like that. Like, he always does that. Anyway, I think it would be cool if there was some kind of collaboration between Nintendo and Stephen King to make an Earthbound movie. Because it seems like up his alley. But in terms of it, I did grow up watching a rerun anyway on like Sci-Fi Channel, both parts 1 and 2 of the TV special. I always forget that it's not technically a movie; it was a mini series, but it was an adaptation that existed, and both the modern one and the older one, you know, they both take out a lot of things that would not have passed through from the book. Let's just say I did not want an orgy, alright? I don't think the world is ready for kids having an orgy. Okay? How about that? In any context, ever. But when I saw it, it was kind of uplifting, I guess. I mean, I could tell that it was supposed to be funny in some moments too. You know, with Pennywise, that character is good at luring the viewer, I would say, into a false sense of security. Oh, wait, what? Oh, this is weird. You can see his little tumor head, like, opening its mouth. His little chain chomp yomp head chomping away. So I actually don't know what to do next. I guess I have to go up here. What's the computer say? No. I don't know what I was gonna say. Anyway, that isn't to say that oh shit, it's the guy that some of the stuff that still happens that was in the adaptation wasn't goofy as fuck. You know, and the first It remake, you know, you had Pennywise doing the cosmic dance with his head in place, going, you know, not anybody took that seriously, but should we have? I mean, it's a clown doing a dance. That's just because it's labeled as a horror movie doesn't mean everything has to be fucking scary. You could say that it fails as a horror movie in most of its aspects, but it's still entertaining. I think we can give it that at least. I think something like You're Next, the movie about the people in the house and there's like an assassin, that is good horror since you're not supposed to really know what happens next at all. I mean, Killer Clowns from Outer Space is also technically a horror movie, but it's also a campy comedy B movie thing. So is Freaked. You know, there's freaky shit going on, but you're not supposed to be scared all the time. But there's a lot of good practical effects in both those things. To me, that's what I appreciate more than just like, oh, is it scary? Like, okay, whatever. I like a lot of surreal stuff in the It remakes, part 1 and 2, like the 2016 ones or whatever, or 17. I think those are both great. I I don't know what else to say, really. I'm not good at talking about this kind of thing. When they cast the characters as adults, it does a pretty good job at keeping their personalities consistent. Like, the actors do a good job at acting, or not even acting like their old selves, but making it look like, yeah, this was that kid in the other movie. I mean, it just was good. If Nostalgia Critic has anything negative to say about it, it's going to be like, I don't like how they did this. They did this. How did they do that? I'm Nostalgia Critic. Oh, come on. You know, he's just gonna. He's gonna do that thing. It's a live show, so I don't know if anything will come across well. Do I have anything? Oh, this thing they kind of do kind of cleverly with the Murkrow. You kind of chase him around back to the front door of the thing, and then he says the password. And I was also kind of confused, like, whenever Pokemon imitate human speech, is it like because they're like parrots, or are they using like a move or something to speak human? Because you know, Meowth just learns to talk. Does that mean every Pokemon can technically teach themselves to speak English? Hey, how about, this is a bad idea to fight me here, because Girafareg's at low health. Thanks, man, you're here. Dang. I could have had a double battle, like, that hasn't stopped anyone before. Even on, like, the main field. What's her name? Artemis? Or Ariana? That's not a that's not a funky name. You had like Proton and Pluto and shit like that, and Thoron. And you just got Ariana Grande over here. Now I could use Psybeam on Arbok, but he will die. So instead I'm going to put in a man here. Whoa! Oh, come on, GB. Oh, come on, GB, come on. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway, It Chapter 1 and 2. Feel good movies of the summer. And it's fall. I can't use low kick on anybody, but I can use flail. Look at me, I'm Lance. I have 3 Dragonites. What the fuck? Does it actually do no damage, or does it? Okay, it does kind of amount of damage. It won't do anything unless it's red, so whatever. I need to kill that Arbok because he's thinks a lot, man. Just thinks. Why would you use Thunder? Thunder, fly, why? Okay, that did a lot. Now he's still trying to glare. Wait, did it work or not? How do you get paralyzed? Oh yeah, baby! Yeah. He's gonna die the next turn. Ding, 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 ding. Ah, crap. Ah, creep, ah, creep. Ding, 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 ding. I thought it was cool how they mix Pennywise's like forms together, because yeah, in the original adaptation, he was just a giant fucking spider. The reason why is because a lot of things. I do like they explain it better in the remake part 2. Not to say that like everything has to be explained, but the way they do it is pretty clever. But since he was portrayed as a giant spider at one point in time, in the remake he's a giant like arachnid type creature, but he could be anything is the thing. His core form is, you know, a spider with the baby head, okay, but it explains that in previous times he was like a wolf or a dog, and then he was a falcon or a hawk or eagle or something, and then he was like this Wendigo looking motherfucker, and then he was like a circus guy, and then he was a clown. Like, he had multiple forms across different generations, and that's interesting. But you know, it's just interesting. The main thing is I will not understand any hate for it at all. Oh, it's the Murkrow that was following me around and shit. I have already used Murkrow in the past. I liked using Honchkrow. Honchkrow is cool. I forgot that Surf works differently in this game. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, Dragonite, you're useless to me now. So I feel like a lot of people are gonna argue that the movie is too funny. It is fucking bizarre when a movie advertises a horror movie, it makes you laugh in any way, but just because you do doesn't mean it's an awful movie in general. I think a lot of people, I felt that way about Cabin in the Woods. I remember seeing commercials for it, and I knew just by looking at it was a horror movie, right? But it would show on like on quotes from like review sources, like saying surprisingly funny, and it was like, wait a minute, what, a horror movie that's funny? That's weird. And when I saw it for myself, I was like, well, okay, that's not a bad thing. They're allowed to do that. It opened my mind to the fact that that could be a possibility, and I don't hate these movies for doing that. I feel like I'm wasting my time reviving everyone, but whatever. I wish Lance would like heal me first or something. I have to put Shoopda up here because they're all electric types. Hey, Electrode. Hey, Stop it. Oh, you can see its little face. I guess it's just because it's the it's a Pokemon following behind you sprite, but on the field. Ding, ding. I kind of thought this part of the game was pretty cool. Oh, come on. Where you teaming up with Lance and you're fighting Heartless. That was a pretty good part of this game. God damn it. I should have just used Mud Slap again. Shupta is getting too much use for a Pokemon I'm not going to use. I don't care about Amnesia. Yawn is way more useful. Alright, Electrode 2. This also gives you a good like foreshadowing of what kind of guy Lance is. Well, I mean, you already know who he is from the other game, but now he has like a special role in this game. Like he's like out fighting Team Rocket, and that's kind of cool. Oh god, I'm gonna get this out of here. Because however you feel about it as a horror movie, at least it's not like... At least it was created with a horror movie agenda. Like there is still scary scenes in it. Like when Pennywise interacts with any of the kids, or it's the ones from the past, or the ones that that the adults meet, and he like fucks them up pretty badly in the future. Because I was gonna say, it's at least it's not created by someone like from the XX series of horror movies. Okay, XX is... It's okay that a horror movie isn't scary. Or, no, that's not what I'm saying. It's okay that a horror movie can make you laugh at some points. As long as it has a good balance between its scary moments and its horror moments, then I don't think there's much to hate about it, really. Now, XX is a trio of horror movies created by... it's... That series agenda wants to be female-only directors, which is alright, fine. But one of them said they don't like horror movies. So they made so when they made something, it wasn't scary at all. And that, it was unintentionally funny. And that's worse than a horror movie being unintentionally horrible or scary. I mean, unintentionally scary is also good too, because it's like, whoa, this thing that's not supposed to be scary scared me. That's insane. And also good. Does this guy at least have good stuff now? No, nobody's here anymore. Oh, okay. That means this place has no shop, and that's annoying. Well, but anyway, what's the gym here? Oh, ice types. I can use this guy, maybe. What else? Oh, it's this kind of shit. Alright. Cause what's weird to me about XX is that they are women who think that there's too many male horror directors. All right, that's a observational stance. Like, it is true. But why would they let someone in their group who doesn't even like horror movies to begin with? That makes no sense to me.
Just a side note, in that really awkward interview I mentioned earlier, the director of this segment says that she doesn't really like horror movies, so she just made it a comedy.
I think it teeters the line of actually, in fact, a black comedy, because horror movies scare me too much to watch.
It's so confusing. It just makes no sense at all. Why is it in this horror anthology then? Why would you go from having one horror one, then a comedy horror one that isn't funny and isn't horrific, to then having two more horror ones? It's just horribly confusing. The tone.
I feel like they did it just because they didn't have anyone else, or if they didn't do it, they would seem somehow hypocritical. Like, oh, they didn't let this woman in their team because the rest of them do like horror movies, and it just so happens that they made bad ones. Okay, but they at least appreciate it as a genre. But they let someone in who doesn't even like horror movies. That makes no sense. Why? We would have had... If they gotten someone else, maybe we would have had a better female horror movie director, you know? I feel like there was a missed opportunity to get someone actually good. Ugh. I mean, I don't really know where I'm going with this, or why I introduced that topic, but it feels like that's the only kind of hate I can see the It remakes getting, is that, well, they change a few things. Instead of like racism in the 60s, it's, you know, gay bashing in the early 2000s. Actually, no, because it started in the 80s. Okay, maybe the early 2010s. Like 10 years ago from now is where that game is setting. He's already at 32 HP. This guy is not very good. Yeah. Yeah, I know, you're not very good.